Hey YouTube, it's Mr. Shakie here. I actually have a couple of stories all related to one thing to tell you this time. So this is my first planned vlog where I say a lot again. I just got off the phone with Ramekin and I want to tell you a little bit about why I hate the iPhone. Okay, particularly the iPhone 4, but I can't be certain. Basically what happened is, so during today's conversation, he called and I answered. I said, "Hey, what's up?" And so he started yelling a bunch of stuff to embarrass me, because apparently from his perspective, from his end of the conversation, the call quality was so crappy that he thought that he was on speakerphone. So he was going to try to embarrass me because he thought I had him on speaker. And that was not the case. So he started laughing, and I was like, "Okay, you're really weird." And he's like, "You have me on speaker, right?" And I'm like, "No, dude, I do not have you on speaker." So we started talking about how shitty it is that it just sounds like he's on speaker because the call quality is so low. And then we discussed whether I should head over to his place, which is what I'm doing right now. And I started thinking about it, and after discussing it with him a bit, I was like, "Okay, I'll go to my other friends tomorrow and I'll go to your place today." And he was like, "What? Hello?" So all of a sudden he couldn't hear me, which is pretty much pretty common with us. We both have iPhones, by the way. So I got frustrated immediately because this happens so often. I was like, "Dude, can I just kill myself now and get it over with?" Because I was being sarcastic about how frustrated I was with the fact that my piece of crap phone, and talking to him and he can't hear me, and I have to repeat myself 1,500 times trying to explain something to him over the phone, because the first 1,499 times the phone just breaks up, and he can't hear most of the conversation. So apparently at his end, what I had said was, "I'll just hang out with my other friend tomorrow and hang out with you today." And then when he said, "Hello, I can't hear you," and I said, "Can I just kill myself now, or can I just kill myself right now and get it over with?" all he heard was, "I'm going to hang out with my other friend," and then a long pause, and then "right now." And then that's all he heard. So he thought that I was going to go hang out with my other friend, right now, so he hung up. No, I think we got disconnected. So that's one story about how the iPhone is so crappy on call quality for us that he just heard the wrong thing. Another time, I was on the phone with him, and something weird was going on with our website, which is the project that we work on together. And so he called me, and we were talking about it, and we were talking about how what had happened, and we had gotten an email basically warning us that something had happened. And I was thinking that it might have been involving a reboot, something might have rebooted something. And so I was explaining that to him, and somehow what he heard, I think that somehow there was a misunderstanding, and I ended up saying I did not reboot the web server. And what he heard is I reboot the web server. He just didn't hear "did not." So that's a pretty important distinction to make there, that the iPhone fucked that up for us. I don't know if I should beat that out or not. I don't think I care. And that's two of many stories. I had another. I have the iPhone 4, and I've gone through this is my third one, I think. And it's not that I've bought 3 iPhone 4s. What happened is, the first iPhone 4 I got, it was messed up. It would vibrate just for almost no reason. Like, you'd have the phone. In fact, if you had the phone on vibrate, it wouldn't do it. But if you turn the phone off of vibrate so that it would ring, if you like tilted the phone a little bit, or just like it moving around in your pocket, would just like cause it to just vibrate. And it would vibrate just over and over and over just because you're moving or whatever. And the battery would go dead like almost instantly. And I had gotten my iPhone, like the iPhone 4, the very first day that they came out. I waited in line for it and got it. And so after like an hour or two of this problem, I like got ticked off at the phone and like started making phone calls to try to see if I could get the phone returned. And basically all the Apple Store employees at the place that I bought the phone, like, it was impossible to get a hold of anyone, first of all, okay? So what I ended up having to do is, after work, I went to the Apple Store that I got the phone at. They were like, you're going to have to make an appointment. And I'm like, okay, when is your first appointment? They're like, have this Genius Bar thing. They're like, next week, at the end of the week. So this is like at this point, I'm waiting like 7 days to get my phone fixed. Meanwhile, I just have a phone that has like 2 hours of charge. Like, not in use because of how often the stupid thing vibrates. Either that or a phone that doesn't ring because I have to keep it on vibrate at all times. So I got angry with them, and like I try to be patient, you know, like I was like, well, I mean, it's a little bit silly. I bought this phone, and like I expect to get a working phone when I buy the phone, and I bought it today. And I mean, there's got to be some way that we can get this situation resolved so that I will go home with what I paid for, which is supposed to have been a working iPhone 4, obviously. And pretty much they just like wouldn't accept anything I said, and just said, no, you've got to make an appointment with Genius Bar. And their Genius Bar was like super packed, so they were like, you're gonna have to wait a week. So I got like really frustrated with that, and just I was like, you know what, I'll go to, I didn't say this, I just like decided, you know, I'm gonna go to another Apple Store. So I went to an Apple Store at another mall that's closer to where I live than to where I work. The one that I had just been to was near where I worked. I went there, and they still had a line from people buying the phone to begin with, keeping in mind this is day one of the iPhone 4 being released. But one of the people outside, like talking to all the people in line and like explaining stuff, I stopped him and I was like, hey, you know, I've got this major problem with my phone. It's like really, really frustrating. And I explained to him what was going on, and he's like, can I see it? And I showed it to him, and he just like, just from like having taken it out of my hand, it caused the phone to vibrate like 3 times. So he was like, yeah, that's not normal. I said, no kidding. I said, I really came to, I mean, I waited in line for many hours, like, to get this phone. I came here because it's not working, and I'm really frustrated at this point. Is there something that you can do? And he was like, you know what, just wait right here. We're going to get you a new phone. So I had to go to 2 different Apple stores to get my problem resolved, and it took them a very long time before anyone even like came up to me and like acknowledged that I was there. Like I waited after he said that for like at least an hour. So that's my first replacement. So then I had heard like nightmare stories, like even when I bought the phone, that reception with iPhones in general is like really bad. So for a long time, I just kind of accepted the fact that I got dropped calls like almost all the time. People couldn't hear me talking, so on. So, but then it got worse though. So one day I'm on the phone with Ramekin, and our call dropped like at least 15 times in within 1 hour. And he was like, dude, this is not normal. You need to take your phone in. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I ended up taking that phone in to an Apple store, making an appointment, and they replaced that phone. They said that it belonged to a batch of phones that batch, like, they all had this problem apparently, just reception problems, the entire batch. So he replaced it, and that's the phone I'm on right now. And now this phone, instead of just dropping calls all the time, the person can barely hear anything I ever say and the drop calls. So I'm contemplating taking this phone back again, and that is the reason that I hate the iPhone. The problem, however, is that every other phone really sucks even worse. I mean, every other phone is like a better phone, but not as good as like a device in general. Like for camera, pictures, like games, apps, stuff like that. And it really sucks because like it's a really, really, really horrible phone. Like, just, in fact, like, speakerphone is just a joke. Like, don't bother. Like, if you have an iPhone, please comment on this video and just tell everyone, like, well, what's your experience with speakerphone? Do you think it's any good? Can people understand anything you say ever? Is the quality on speakerphone like decent? Can people tell that you're on speakerphone? The phone I had before this phone, it was the Nokia N95, and to this day, that is probably my favorite phone ever. As a phone, at the very least. With that phone, I just had people on speaker almost all the time, and no one ever knew that they were on speaker. In fact, I would like tell people that they were on speaker just to see if they could tell. I'd be like, you know, you're on speaker right now. They're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, you're on speaker. And they just wouldn't believe me half the time. That's how good the speakerphone on that phone is. It had stereo, like, sound. You could hear, like, there were two speakers, so the sound quality was really great. On the iPhone, it's just one speaker for sound, and it's kind of crappy. And on the N95, you just plug your N95 into your computer with a standard USB cable. Copy some MP3s over to it and you're done. Your MP3s are on there. With iPhone, as everybody knows, the ridiculous iTunes mess where you have to like create a library and sync with iTunes and use Apple's like proprietary cable and all this ridiculous like BS. So we'll see what happens when iPhone 5 comes out, but I'm pretty burnt out on this phone. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure I'm going to wait and find out what the reviews are, and if everyone's like, oh my god, the call quality is like 100 times better than every other iPhone, then I'll probably get it. But we'll see. Anyway, that is my entire vlog today about how much I hate Apple and why I'm screwed and gonna stick with them anyway for now. But please, everybody, like, comment and let me know, like, if you have the same experience. Tell me what kind of iPhone do you have, and do you find that did you have a phone before the iPhone, like a different phone, and if so, like, what is your opinion about the difference in call quality, drop calls, so on between the two? Even if you have like a jailbroken iPhone that's like unlocked and you're not even on AT&T, or if you have a Verizon iPhone, whatever, I want to know, because I'm curious if this is just me like making this into more than it really is, because maybe like my house has, you know, bad enough reception that, and I mostly talk from my house, so I guess that's possible. Anyway, that's pretty much it for now, and this video is probably at least 5 minutes long, so I guess that will be it for today. Get back to me on that, everybody. This is Mr. Shakie signing off.